Hey guys, it's Toad back for another video. Today I'm not going to be showing you a blaster or a Nerf accessory, but what I'm going to show you is the toolkit that I take with me to Nerf wars. This toolkit is good for about 90% of the problems that you will encounter with your blasters and gear at a war. And so carrying a toolkit like this will allow you to fix most of the problems that you have. The one major issue that it will not solve is there's nothing in here to repair solder joins. So if one of your motors or your battery terminals come unconnected during a war, you're out of luck. A mobile soldering station would make the kit just a lot bigger and a lot heavier, so I don't want to deal with that. But for anything like a Springer air blaster or adjusting your accessories on your tactical rails and grips and things like that, this kit is going to give you everything you need. So let's go ahead and walk through everything that we have in here and what the purpose of each item is. So in the front section, there's a little bit of mesh with a Velcro closure, and I've got things in here pretty tight. So the first thing that I have is a Tailor's measuring tape that has centimeters, millimeters, and inch measurements on it. That's going to let you put things where you need them on your blaster if they come loose. If you need to check the OD or ID of your barrels for a rough estimate, you can do it with that. You won't need calipers or anything for just a close approximation. This has just been handy for cutting elastic, cutting straps, things like that. We've got a sort of little outdoor tool here. This has a saw on it that will cut plastic. It has some valve tools here that I don't generally use. It has some wrench holes here that I have actually used and some smaller ones here. It has a little blade for cutting stuff. This is really good for cutting tape if you need to get a precise edge on something. So you lay the tape out and then you find the line where you need your tape to end and you can cut it precisely. So that's what that's mostly for. Just the saw for if you have to cut something off of something, and the little blade is primarily the purpose of this tool. Let's go ahead and set those aside. We've got some drill bits. I believe these are number 1 Phillips and number 1 flat. We've got some adhesive Velcro, soft side and pointy side. So if you need to stick something to something, that'll do it for you. That's everything in the front. Also on the outside of the kit, I have the wrench that Worker includes with their Mega to Elite conversion barrels. Those are a huge pain in the butt to get out if you don't have this specific wrench, and it weighs really nothing. So that's just attached to the zipper pull. On the back, I sometimes carry a large pair of shears if I expect to need to cut like the Velcro or nylon straps. But I've moved mostly to a smaller pair of scissors, which we'll see inside. You can also hook this up to MOLLE or lash it to your gear using this strap if that's what you prefer. I just leave it in my bag at the staging area unless it's an HVZ event. So inside, let's go over the stuff in the back pockets first. I've got a pair of mild angle flush cutters here. Those are good for cutting plastic. They're not super precise, but if you need to just cut threads off of a 3D printed part or something you find they're interfering with your darts, this will work for it. I've got a little Streamlight Stylus Pro flashlight here. It's not super bright. It's good for looking into barrels to see if you have a jam. There's a clip here that I'm not currently using for anything. I've got a wrench. This is a wrench that is sized for pneumatic applications. So this is going to work for most of the brass fittings on my air blasters, which is what I carry it for. Instead of carrying like 4 or 5 full-size, full-thickness wrenches in here, which is extremely heavy, I just have this that came with my paintball regulator. I've got a set of American measurement non-metric Allen wrenches, the full set. And I've got a roll of electrical tape. In the front section, I've got some worker lubricant. I've got 2 lengths of pneumatic tubing. I don't know if this will show up on the camera, but this end is filled with marine epoxy, which is the epoxy I use for my air blasters. What I use this for is to plug it into a pneumatic system with brass fittings instead of where the blaster would go, so that I can make sure I have a 100% air seal on the fittings, and I can test the pressure of my overpressure release valves without having to plug it into a blaster. And then this is just a normal length of tubing that is free on both sides, so I can connect 2 systems together if I need to test that. We've got some metric Allen wrenches. These are mostly what I use for adjusting red dots, rail sections, grenade launcher, anything like that. That uses an Allen key. Most of them use the metric. Some stuff does use the imperial, so I carry both. I've got a reusable zip tie. It's just like a normal zip tie, good thickness, but you can open and close it. These are really cheap. You can get like 50 of them in different sizes for a couple bucks. And if you need to add a sling point to a blaster somewhere, this will do it easy, no problem. I've got a flat and round bastard file. Yes, that is what they're called. And then I've got a flat semicircle file and a round fine file. So anytime you need to clean something up and the snips don't do it right, or if you need to correct the rim on a brass barrel that's got a little curl in it, these will allow you to do that. I've got a pair of sewing scissors here. They fold up nice and small. They're lightweight. That will let you cut tape, Velcro, nylon straps, string, paracord, anything like that. It takes a couple tries to get through paracord, but it will do it. Pretty much anything you need scissors for in Nerf, the small ones will do it. I've got a pair of tweezers. If you've got grit somewhere in your blaster that you need to get out but you don't want to take it apart, sometimes having tweezers will let you access it. I've got a number 1 Phillips screwdriver, a number 0 Phillips screwdriver, and a number 1, I believe, flathead screwdriver. That's going to adjust pretty much all of the screws that you need for Nerf. I never run into huge flathead screws in Nerf, but sometimes you do get the bigger Phillips ones, especially on the In-Strike era blasters. So I've got the regular smaller screwdrivers and then one bigger one for the Phillips. You can also use this for a little bit of prying, but what I actually like to use for prying is a non-marring plastic spudger. This is designed for electronics repair. I bought an electronics repair kit, and this is the biggest size of spudger that it came with. It's great for pushing blaster shells apart, especially if they're connected by a pin or something. You just hook it in and pry, just like with a screwdriver, but there's much less chance that you're going to crack your blaster or scratch your paint with something like this. Finally, I've got black and orange fine tip Sharpies. This one says pen, but they're both permanent and will write on plastic. So this one is just orange because orange doesn't show up very much on orange plastic, obviously. So you can write on a stripe or something that's primarily orange or has an orange barrel. On pretty much any Nerf blaster, you should be able to find an orange part unless the whole thing has been painted. If you need to write a note, like it's shooting to the left or something like that, you can use this and it won't show up, and then it's easy to clean off later. If you want to make more permanent notations, or if you're just trying to measure something on cardboard, you can use the black one and it'll show up a little bit better. So that is my Nerf toolkit for Travel to Wars. It's just a Maxpedition pocket organizer. You can get cheap knockoffs of these organizers for like $5 or $6 on AliExpress. Probably $10 for a knockoff one on Amazon. I just had the Maxpedition one laying around because I bought it for hiking use. So this is just all stuff I use for Nerf when I go to wars. So if you're interested in this kind of video, in mod guide videos, in blaster showcase videos, follow the channel, like the video, and thank you for your time today.